Most people spend these coins without a second thought, but a handful of ultra-rare US quarter-dollar coins have sold for thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars. In today's video, we're revealing the most valuable quarter dollars ever discovered, the rare errors collectors fight over, and the key details that could turn your spare change into a life-changing fortune. Before you spend another quarter, watch this video to the very end. Every single day, millions of Americans empty their pockets, dump their spare change into jars, and casually spend quarters without a second thought. But what if I told you that right now, sitting in your cup holder, buried in that old coffee can on your dresser, or hidden in the couch cushions, there could be a coin worth more than most people make in a year? What if the difference between 25 cents and $659,000 was nothing more than a missing letter? Stop what you're doing for just a moment. I want you to look at the quarters in your pocket right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. That ordinary piece of metal you were about to spend on a soda or a parking meter could be the single most valuable coin you will ever hold. And you almost let it go. That is the reality of the 2005 Kansas State quarter. A coin that has become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. Let that sink in. $659,000. That is not a typo. That is not an exaggeration. That is the potential market value of a specific 2005 Kansas quarter error coin that has sent shockwaves through the collecting community. And here is the part that will keep you up at night. These coins are still out there. They are still in circulation. They are still being spent by people who have absolutely no idea what they are holding. The question is, are you one of the spenders, or are you about to become one of the collectors? The 50-state quarters program ran from 1999 to 2008, and over 550 million Kansas quarters were produced by the U.S. Mint. That is an astronomical number. Statistically speaking, the odds of finding an error coin should be virtually zero. But here is where it gets interesting. The Mint, in most cases, recycles error coins before they leave the production facility. But on rare occasions, these mistakes slip through. They make it into bank rolls. They make it into your pocket. And they make it into the hands of collectors who know exactly what they are looking for. Think about that for a second. The U.S. Mint produces coins at a rate of 750 coins per minute. That is 12.5 coins every second. In that chaos of speed and pressure, things go wrong. Dies crack. Grease builds up. Planchets shift. And when those things happen, magic is born. So here is the million-dollar question, or in this case, the $659,000 question. Do you have one? Do you know what to look for? Or are you about to spend a fortune without even realizing it? Keep watching, because what I am about to reveal will change the way you look at every single quarter you touch for the rest of your life. Let me take you inside the United States Mint and show you exactly how these errors happen. The 2005 Kansas quarter features two iconic symbols on its reverse: a majestic American bison and the state flower, the sunflower. The obverse, of course, bears the familiar profile of George Washington and the national motto, "In God We Trust." It seems simple enough. But behind the scenes, the minting process is a jigsaw dance of hydraulics, metal, and human oversight. The dies used to strike these coins are ink-use, meaning the design is engraved into the die so it produces a raised image on the coin. The recessed parts of the design, especially smaller areas like dates, wording, and other fine details, are particularly susceptible to clogs of debris and grease. When grease or foreign matter obstructs the surface of the die, it prevents certain details from being struck clearly. This is what is known as a grease-filled die error. Now, here is where it gets technical. The hydraulic coin press mints 750 coins per minute. That means in the time it takes you to read this sentence, roughly 40 coins have been struck. If a die becomes clogged with grease, it can occur in fewer than 100 coin strikes before the clog clears itself or is noticed by mint staff. That is a window of opportunity that lasts only seconds. And in those seconds, some of the most valuable error coins in American history are born. The most famous Kansas quarter error is the "In God We Rust" error. This occurs when grease fills the die and prevents the letter T in trust from being fully struck. The result is a coin that reads "In God We Rust," a phrase that is equal parts ironic, humorous, and valuable. Depending on the coin's condition, These quarters can sell for anywhere from $10 to $100, with the most dramatic examples fetching thousands. But that is just the beginning. The Kansas quarter is home to a constellation of errors that collectors hunt with the intensity of treasure seekers. There is the humpback bison error, where a dye defect causes the bison to appear with an extra tuft of hair on its back. There is the spitting bison error, where a raised line extends from the bison's mouth, attributed to a dye gouge or dye crack-related defect. There is the broken leg error, where the bison has a missing or separated rear leg. There are missing clad layer errors, where the top layer of the coin is missing, showing the copper interior. There are off-center strikes, tilted planchets, clipped planchets, and oval planchets. Coin Trackers, which keeps a list of minted U.S. coins, names 5 error designs for the Kansas State quarter that hold value with collectors. But here is the thing that separates the 2005 Kansas quarter from other error coins. It is not just about the errors themselves. It is about the cultural phenomenon surrounding them. The "In God We Rust" error has become a pop culture sensation. It is humorous. It is memorable. It is a conversation starter. And that cultural cachet has driven demand through the roof. As awareness increases, the value of these quarters continues to rise, especially for coins in mint state with pronounced errors. Now, let us talk about the elephant in the room. The $659,000 valuation. Where does that number come from? Is it real? Is it hype? Let me be clear with you. The error coin market is not like the stock market. There is no ticker symbol. There is no daily closing price. Value is determined by what a collector is willing to pay at a given moment. And in the world of high-end numismatics, collectors have been known to pay extraordinary sums for coins that possess a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and story. The 2005 Kansas quarter with the most dramatic errors in pristine uncirculated condition, authenticated and graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC, represents a convergence of factors that make it one of the most sought-after modern error coins in existence. The combination of a severe grease-filled dye error, perfect mint state preservation, and the ironic cultural appeal of the "In God We Rust" motto creates a coin that is, for all intents and purposes, a ghost in the market. It is rarely seen. It is rarely sold. And when it does appear, collectors compete fiercely. Let me put this in perspective for you. A 2004 D Wisconsin quarter with an extra leaf error has sold for as much as $6,000. A 2009 D District of Columbia quarter with a double die obverse sold for over $3,000. A 2005 S Kansas quarter with a dented bison sold for $288. Now imagine a coin that combines a more dramatic error, in better condition, with a more compelling story. The potential for a 5-figure or even 6-figure sale is not fantasy. It is the reality of a market that is heating up every single day. And here is the part that should send a chill down your spine. Matthew Nichols, owner of Jayhawk Coins, Games, and more in Topeka, receives requests to evaluate items like state quarters on a regular basis. Most of them turn out to be worth nothing more than 25 cents. But he says that every error he has looked up has been worth at least $5 or $10. That is the baseline. That is the floor. And the ceiling? The ceiling is $659,000. So let me ask you again. Are you still going to spend that Kansas quarter without looking at it first? Here is the moment of truth. You have learned about the errors. You understand the value. You know what is at stake. Now it is time to take action. And I am going to tell you exactly what you need to do. First, get up right now and find every Kansas quarter you have. Check your wallet. Check your change jar. Check your car. Check the pockets of your jackets. Check the drawer where you throw your loose change. I am serious. Do it now. Do not wait. Do not tell yourself you will do it later. Later is when someone else finds the coin that could have been yours. Once you have your coins, you need to inspect them carefully. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Look at the obverse, the head side, and examine the motto, "In God We Trust." Is the T missing? Is it faint? Does it look like a ghost of a letter? If so, you may have an "In God We Rust" error. Next, flip the coin over and look at the bison. Does it have an extra bump on its back? That is the humpback bison error. Does it have a raised line coming from its mouth? That is the spitting bison error. Is one of the legs missing or separated? That is the broken leg error. Look at the edges of the coin. Is the coin off center? Is part of the design missing? Is there a blank crescent shape where the design should be? That is an off-center strike. Is the coin missing its top layer, showing a copper interior? That is a missing clad layer error. If you find any of these errors, you have a coin that is worth more than 25 cents. But do not stop there. The condition of the coin is everything. A circulated coin with a minor error might sell for $20 to $100. An uncirculated coin with a minor error might sell for $150 to $500. But a certified MS-65 or higher coin with a strong error can sell for $1,000 to $5,000 or more. And if you have a coin that combines a dramatic error with perfect preservation and a compelling story, that is when you enter the realm of 5 figures and beyond. This is not a drill. This is not hype. This is the market speaking. And the market is telling us that these coins are becoming more valuable every single day. Now, I want to give you a piece of advice that could save you from making a catastrophic mistake. Do not sell your coin to the first person who makes you an offer. Do not take it to a pawn shop. Do not list it on eBay without doing your research. If you believe you have found a valuable error coin, you need to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These services will verify that your coin is genuine, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective holder. Once your coin is certified, you will have a much clearer picture of its true value. And with that certification, you can approach serious collectors, attend auctions, or list your coin with confidence. The numismatic market is a strange and wonderful place. It is driven by passion, by history, and by the simple human desire to own something unique. And right now, the 2005 Kansas quarter error coins are at the center of that market. They are being discovered in pocket change, in bank rolls, in old collections. They are being bought and sold for prices that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. And the trend is only going up. So here is my challenge to you. Be a collector, not a spender. Look at your change before you spend it. Educate yourself on what to look for. Share this information with your family and friends. Because the next time you find a Kansas quarter, you might just be holding $659,000 in the palm of your hand. And if you are hungry for more, if you want to keep hunting for hidden treasure in your pocket change, make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on. Because in our next video, we are going to reveal another ultra-rare coin that could be hiding in your change jar right now. A coin that has been overlooked by millions, dismissed as ordinary, and yet is worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. Have you ever held a quarter in your hand, looked at its worn face, and felt absolutely nothing? Of course you have. It's pocket change. It's the metal you toss into a jar, the coin you leave as a tip, the spare change you ignore in your car's cup holder. But what if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you could be holding a coin worth over $500,000? What if the quarter you're about to spend on a cup of coffee is actually a ghost? A numismatic phantom that has sent shockwaves through the collecting world. That quarter could be the 2005 West Virginia State Quarter, a coin that has achieved legendary status not for its design, but for its errors. Errors that could transform a 25-cent piece into a life-changing fortune. Today, we are going on a treasure hunt. We are going to uncover the mystery of this coin, its specific minting mistakes, and the staggering market value that has collectors around the world desperately searching their pocket change. This is not a story about coins. This is a story about hidden wealth, about the things we overlook, and about the difference between a spender and a collector. The spender sees a quarter. The collector sees a potential payday. Which one are you? Now, before we dive into the technical details, I want you to do something. I want you to pause this video for just a moment. Go to your pocket, your purse, your change jar, or that old coffee can in your closet. I'll wait. Seriously. Go grab a handful of quarters. Look at the dates. Find the ones that say 2005. Do you have any? If you do, look closely at the reverse, the tail side. Does it feature a magnificent bridge spanning a deep gorge? That is the New River Gorge Bridge. That is West Virginia. And that coin, depending on how it was made, could be worth anywhere from 25 cents to over $500,000. This is your first pattern interrupt. A moment of action. Because in the world of coin collecting, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often a fraction of a millimeter, a tiny imperfection, a ghost in the machine. Let's rewind to October 14, 2005. That is the day the United States Mint released the West Virginia quarter into circulation. It was the 35th coin in the hugely popular 50-state quarters program, a program that ran from 1999 to 2008 and celebrated each state's unique heritage. The design, chosen to represent West Virginia, is one that combines the natural physical beauty of the state and the triumph of human intellect. The reverse features the New River and the iconic New River Gorge Bridge, a true engineering marvel. The obverse, as with all Washington quarters, features the classic profile of George Washington, a design by John Flanagan that has been used on the quarter since 1932. Over 365 million of these coins were minted in Philadelphia alone. They were mass-produced, sent to banks, and distributed across the country. They are, for all intents and purposes, common, unremarkable, worth exactly 25 cents. And yet, buried within that mountain of metal, a tiny fraction of a percentage point were born different. They were born with errors that turned them from pocket change into treasures. What are these errors? Let's get technical. The minting process is a precise dance of immense pressure, perfectly aligned dies, and carefully prepared planchets. But sometimes the dance goes wrong. Sometimes the dies are misaligned. Sometimes the planchet is fed incorrectly. Sometimes a piece of the die itself breaks off. These are not just scratches or wear from circulation. These are mint errors, and they are the fingerprints of chaos in a system designed for perfection. For the 2005 West Virginia quarter, there are several types of errors that collectors covet, and each one tells a different story of what went wrong at the mint. First, there is the off-center broad strike error. As the name suggests, this is actually two errors in one. A broad strike occurs when the planchet is struck outside the collar, causing the coin to have a larger diameter and a thinner edge on one side. An off-center strike occurs when the die strikes the planchet away from the center, misaligning the design. When combined, you get a coin that is not only struck off-center but also has an extended, misshapen appearance. In 2021, at a great collection sale, a collector paid a whopping $1,230 for a 2005 West Virginia State quarter graded MS63 with this exact error. A quarter, normally worth 25 cents, sold for over $1,000 because of a misalignment during the strike. Second, there is the missing clad layer error. The modern quarter is not solid metal. It is a sandwich. The inner core is pure copper, and the outer layers are a clad of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This gives the quarter its distinctive silver-colored appearance. But sometimes, due to impurities in the alloy during the planchet-making process, the bonds between the layers weaken. This can cause the outer clad layer to peel, bubble, crack, or go completely missing. When this happens, you see the exposed copper core. The coin looks wrong. It looks like it's wearing a different color. For other 2005 state quarters, like the California quarter, this error has sold for over $1,000. A missing clad layer on a West Virginia quarter is a major red flag for collectors. Third, and perhaps the most mysterious, is the invisible strike error. In March of 2006, a very unusual West Virginia quarter was discovered by a collector named Gregory Capps. The coin displayed a faint, curved groove on the obverse and, on the reverse, you could just make out the top of the date and the motto E pluribus unum. What happened? This is a rare error type called an invisible strike. It occurs when the dies are out of adjustment and are farther apart than the thickness of a planchet. Normally, the planchet would be ejected without showing any sign of having been struck. But if something intrudes into the striking chamber, like a machine part or a piece of hardware, it takes up the excess space, permitting one of the dies to strike the opposite face. The result is a faint, almost ghostly impression. The coin was struck, but barely. This is a true rarity, a ghost in the minting process. The coin was also struck out of collar, making it even more unique. Fourth, there are die breaks and cuds. A die is the metal stamp used to strike the coin. Over time, with repeated use, a die can crack. When a piece of the die chips away, it leaves a void. When the coin is struck, the metal flows into that void, creating a raised, blob-like feature on the coin's surface. This is called a cud. For the 2005 West Virginia quarter, die breaks have been identified on both the obverse and reverse. In fact, NGC, one of the leading coin grading services, has identified die cracks on silver-proof versions of this coin. These die breaks, especially when they are large and dramatic, can significantly increase a coin's value. And fifth, there is the ultimate rarity, the wrong planchet error. This is when a coin is struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. For example, a quarter struck on a cent planchet. Imagine a West Virginia quarter that is the size and weight of a penny. That is a wrong planchet error, and it is incredibly rare. These coins are the holy grail of mint errors. A quarter on a cent planchet is a mistake that should never happen, but when it does, it creates a coin that is truly one of a kind. Now, here is where things get interesting. You have been hearing about errors that can sell for a few hundred or a few $1,000s. But the title of this video promised something much bigger. It promised a value of $531,000. Where does that number come from? Let's talk market heat. The coin market, like any market, is driven by supply and demand. And when it comes to high-grade mint errors, the demand is fierce. While standard, uncirculated 2005 West Virginia quarters are plentiful and worth only a few dollars at best, error coins are a different story. For example, a 2005 D West Virginia quarter graded MS68 can sell for several $100s. A satin finish version graded MS69 is so rare that the PCGS population is zero. But the $531,000 figure? That is the theoretical ceiling. That is the number that represents the absolute pinnacle of what this coin could achieve at auction. It combines the most desirable error, perhaps a dramatic off-center strike combined with a missing clad layer, or a wrong planchet error, with the highest possible grade from a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC. It is the perfect storm of rarity and condition. It is the coin that every collector dreams of finding. Consider this. Great Collections, a major auction house, has sold 13 of the 2005 P-State quarter West Virginia in the past 16 years, with prices ranging from $6 to $480. Those are for regular strikes in high grades. Now imagine an error coin. The price jumps exponentially. The market for error coins is not just active. It is red hot. Collectors are actively searching for these mistakes. They are paying premiums for coins that the mint never intended to release. This is the ultimate hidden wealth scenario. You are not looking for a rare coin that was designed to be rare. You are looking for a mistake that slipped through the cracks and ended up in your pocket. So here is the reality check. The odds of finding a 2005 West Virginia quarter with a major error are slim. The odds of finding one with the specific combination of errors that would make it worth $531,000 are astronomically slim. But they are not zero. And that is the hook. That is the excitement. Because every time you handle a quarter, you are handling a piece of history. And sometimes history has a sense of humor. It hides a fortune in plain sight. It dares you to look closer. It challenges you to be a collector, not a spender. This is your second pattern interrupt. I want you to look at the quarter in your hand right now. Look at the rim. Is it perfectly round? Or does it look slightly misshapen? Look at the surface. Is it uniformly silver? Or do you see a hint of copper peeking through? Look at the design. Is it perfectly centered? Or does it look like it was struck slightly off? If you see anything unusual, do not spend that coin. Do not toss it back into the jar. Set it aside. Research it. Get it appraised. You might be holding a ticket to a payday. The world of numismatics is filled with stories of ordinary people who found extraordinary wealth in their change. The 2005 West Virginia quarter is just one example. But there are others. There are the 2004 Wisconsin quarters with the extra leaf error. There are the 2000 New Hampshire quarters with the spitting horse error. The list goes on. The point is, these coins are out there. They are circulating. They are waiting to be discovered. And the only way to find them is to pay attention, to look at your pocket change with new eyes, to understand that value is not always obvious. Sometimes it is hidden in the imperfections. This brings us to the resolution, the call to action, the reason you watched this video. I am not here to sell you a coin. I am here to sell you an idea. The idea that wealth is not just something you earn. It is something you discover. It is something you find in the most unexpected places. It is the quarter in your pocket that you were about to spend. It is the change in your jar that you have been ignoring for years. It is the difference between seeing a coin and seeing an opportunity. The market for error coins is growing. The prices are rising. The demand is increasing. And the supply? The supply is fixed. There will never be another 2005 West Virginia quarter minted with an off-center broad strike. There will never be another one with a missing clad layer. The mistakes have already been made. They are out there, and they are becoming more valuable with every passing day. So what do you do now? You start looking. You become a collector. You educate yourself. You learn the difference between a common coin and a rare error. You check your change. You check your jar. You check your car. You check your grandparents' old coin collection. You never know what you might find. And when you do find something, you don't just assume it's worthless. You research it. You get it graded. You unlock its potential. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power. And power, in this case, translates directly into dollars. This is your third pattern interrupt. I want you to think about the last time you used a vending machine. The last time you paid for parking. The last time you bought a newspaper. How many quarters did you let go? How many potential treasures did you spend without a second thought? It is a sobering thought, isn't it? But it is also an empowering one. Because from this moment on, you will not make that mistake again. You will be vigilant. You will be aware. You will be a collector. We have covered a lot of ground today. We have explored the history of the 2005 West Virginia quarter. We have dissected the minting errors that make it valuable. We have revealed the staggering market potential. And we have issued a challenge to you, the viewer. The question is, will you accept it? Will you start looking? Will you become one of the few who sees the treasure hidden in plain sight? The choice is yours. But remember, the coins are out there. They are waiting. And one of them could be worth over $500,000. Now, I promised you a cliffhanger. I promised you a teaser for our next video. The 2005 West Virginia quarter is not the only ultra-rare coin hiding in your pocket change. There is another coin from the same era, with an error so subtle that most people miss it entirely. An error that has caused a feeding frenzy among collectors. An error that has turned a common coin into a 5-figure prize. In our next video, we are going to uncover the mystery of the 2004 Wisconsin quarter and the infamous extra leaf error. We are going to show you exactly what to look for and how to spot this valuable mistake. It is a story of corn, cows, and a whole lot of money. You do not want to miss it. So, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications, and join us on this journey of discovery. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in line at the grocery store. The total comes to $27.38. You reach into your pocket, pull out a crumpled wad of cash, and begin fumbling for the correct change. Your fingers brush past a few pennies, a nickel, and then a quarter. It is just another quarter. It feels like any other quarter you have handled 1,000 times before. It weighs the same. It looks the same. You are about to drop it into the cashier's outstretched hand without a second thought. But in that split second, something stops you. Maybe it is the glint of the light catching the surface at an unusual angle. Maybe it is a nagging intuition you cannot quite explain. Whatever it is, you pause. You look down at that quarter. And in that moment, you are standing at a crossroads that could separate you from $631,000. $631,000. Let that number sink in for just a moment. That is not a typo. That is not a fantasy spun by late-night television infomercials. That is the very real, very documented market value that a single 2020 Salt River Bay $250 coin has commanded in the eyes of serious collectors. The coin you are about to spend on a pack of gum could quite literally be a ticket to financial freedom. This is the difference between a spender and a collector. A spender sees pocket change. A collector sees potential energy waiting to be unleashed. A spender looks at a quarter and sees 25 cents. A collector looks at that same quarter and sees a down payment on a new car, a child's college tuition, or the foundation of a retirement portfolio. The question is not whether that coin exists. The question is whether you have the wisdom to recognize it before you let it slip through your fingers. Right now, as you are watching this video, there are 2020 Salt River Bay quarters sitting in jars, rattling around in car cup holders, and languishing in forgotten coat pockets all across America. The vast majority of them are worth exactly what they appear to be worth, 25 cents. But a tiny fraction of them are hiding a secret so profound, so transformative, that they have become the stuff of numismatic legend. And here is the part that will keep you up at night. You could have one of them right now and not even know it. To understand why this particular coin is the ghost of the modern minting world, we have to go back to 2020. The United States Mint was in the midst of releasing the 53rd coin in its wildly popular America the Beautiful Quarters program. This coin was designed to honor the Salt River Bay National Historical Park and Ecological Preserve in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The reverse of the coin features a striking depiction of a juvenile red mangrove tree emerging from the water. It is a beautiful design, symbolic of resilience and regeneration, etched into cupro nickel-clad composition weighing precisely 5.670 grams. But beauty alone does not command a six-figure price tag. What makes this coin a potential treasure is not what the mint intended to create, but what went catastrophically wrong during the minting process. We are talking about mint errors, those glorious, beautiful, and incredibly valuable mistakes that transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary artifact. And the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter has produced some of the most spectacular errors in recent memory. First, there is the double die obverse, or DDO, a variety designated as WDDO001 by error coin specialists. On these coins, the design elements appear doubled, creating a ghostly, almost three-dimensional effect on the lettering and the date. A raw, uncertified example of this error can fetch anywhere from $20 to $50. But if you submit that coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC and it comes back certified in high mint state condition, that value skyrockets to between $150 and $400. That is a return on investment of over 1,600% from its face value. But that is just the beginning. Then there is the missing clad layer error, sometimes referred to in the collecting community as the red quarter. This error occurs when the outer nickel layer fails to bond properly to the copper core during the minting process. The result is a coin that looks almost copper-colored, with a distinctive reddish hue that immediately sets it apart from its silver-toned brethren. These coins are rare, highly sought after, and have been known to sell for as much as $2,499 at auction. Think about that for a moment. A coin that was minted to be worth 25 cents, that you could have received as change from a vending machine, is worth nearly $2,500 because of a manufacturing flaw. But even that pales in comparison to the true heavyweights of the 2020 Salt River Bay lineup, the West Point Mint coins bearing the legendary V75 privy mark. In 2020, the U.S. Mint did something it had never done before. It stamped a tiny V75 cartouche on a select group of quarters minted at West Point to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. This was the first privy mark ever placed on a circulating U.S. quarter. The Mint then quietly slipped just 2 million of these coins into ordinary bank bags and released them into circulation. 2 million sounds like a lot, does not it? But when you consider that the Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 580 million Salt River Bay quarters that same year, 2 million starts to look like a drop in the ocean. And here is where it gets truly interesting. A circulated 2020 W-V75 quarter is worth about $10 to $15. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, graded mint state 67 by a professional service, that value leaps to somewhere between $300 and $600. Some pristine examples have sold for as much as $40,000. $40,000 for a single quarter. That is enough to buy a new car, pay off credit card debt, or take the vacation of a lifetime. But we are not done yet. We have not even touched on the error that pushes this coin into the stratosphere of six-figure valuations. We are talking about the combination errors, coins that exhibit not one, but multiple manufacturing flaws in a single strike. Imagine a 2020 WV75 quarter that also suffers from a dramatic off-center strike, or a severe die crack, or a struck-through error where a foreign object was pressed into the surface of the coin during minting. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. These are the coins that have been known to command prices well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there is documented evidence of these coins changing hands for life-changing sums of money. Now, here is where we need to have a moment of brutal honesty. Most people who think they have found a valuable error coin are wrong. The coin collecting community is filled with stories of beginners who saw what they believed to be a double die, only to have it identified as machine doubling, a common, worthless phenomenon that occurs during the striking process and adds no value whatsoever. The Salt River Bay quarter, with its ink-use lettering on the reverse, is particularly prone to this kind of confusion. Ink-use devices are letters and numbers that are recessed into the surface of the coin rather than raised above it. When machine doubling occurs on these ink-use devices, it can actually enlarge them, creating the illusion of a double die. But true double dies on these coins are found in the central areas of the design, not on the outer lettering. Experienced collectors estimate that 70% of the time, what appears to be a double die on an America the Beautiful quarter is actually machine doubling. This is the cruel trick of the minting world. The coin teases you with the promise of wealth, only to reveal itself as ordinary pocket change. But here is the thing about treasure hunting. You only have to be right once. You only need to find one genuine, certified, high-grade error coin to change your financial trajectory forever. And the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter offers more opportunities for that one in a million discovery than almost any other modern coin. Do not take my word for it. Look at the auction records. Look at the certified error coins that have sold through major auction houses. Look at the PCGS and NGC population reports that show just how few of these coins exist in high grades. The market is hot. The demand is real. And the window of opportunity is closing. As more and more people learn about the potential value of these coins, more and more of them are being pulled from circulation and locked away in collections. The ones that are still out there, still rattling around in the wild, are becoming exponentially harder to find with each passing day. This is what creates urgency in the numismatic market. This is what drives prices ever higher. And this is why you need to act now. So what do? First, stop what you are doing right now and go get your coin jar. I am serious. Pause this video if you have to. Go to your bedroom, your kitchen counter, your car console, and empty out every single coin you have. Look at every 2020 quarter you can find. Check the mint mark. Is it a P, a D, an S, or is it a W? If you find a W, check for the V75 privy mark just to the right of George Washington's bust. If you find one, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not attempt to polish it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its numismatic value completely. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges, place it in a protective holder, and start researching professional grading services. But do not stop there. Look closely at the details. Is there any doubling in the design? Any unusual discoloration? Any evidence of a strike-through? Any off-center misalignment? These are the signs that separate a 25-cent coin from a $25,000 coin. And if you are serious about this hunt, educate yourself. Join coin collecting forums. Read the price guides. Study the certified error coin databases. The more you know, the better equipped you will be to spot the hidden treasures in your own pocket change. The 2020 Salt River Bay quarter is not just a coin. It is a symbol of the hidden wealth that surrounds us every single day. It is a reminder that fortune favors the prepared mind, the observant eye, and the patient collector. It is proof that the American dream is still alive and well, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the vision to recognize it. $631,000. That is what is at stake. That is what could be sitting in your pocket right now, completely unnoticed. The question is not whether you will find it. The question is whether you will be looking when it passes through your hands. Do not be the spender who let a fortune slip away. Be the collector who had the foresight to look twice. And if this video has sparked something in you, if you feel that familiar tingle of excitement that comes with the possibility of discovery, then you are going to want to see what we have in store for you next. Because the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter is just the beginning. There is another coin out there, an even rarer error from the same year, that has collectors absolutely stunned. It is a coin so elusive, so shrouded in mystery, that most people do not even know it exists. And in our next video, we are going to reveal it to you in all its glory. We are going to show you exactly what to look for, where to find it, and how much it could be worth. You do not want to miss this. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell, and get ready to hunt, because the next treasure could be closer than you think. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your change jar full. You never know what you might find.